and fabulous. You're gonna laugh until you bust with Tora. Behind the lashes with Tora Himan.
Oh my gosh, you guys. Guess what? Episode 2 with Behind the Lashes with Tora Himan. I feel like that would be if I was a Broadway musical. Can you imagine? I would love to be in a Broadway musical. Can we make that happen? No, just kidding. It's not going to happen anytime soon. Ladies and gentlemen, hi! Welcome to episode 2. Thank you for tuning back in on this journey as we rip the lashes off of my friends, people who just really inspire me, who change my world. I want them to change your world so we can all become a better human being, a better person, and be a good person. That's it. That's pretty much it. So today we have an amazing human being, Toni. Her name is Toni. She was my install stage manager for the Virgin Voyages. She was kind of like my mama bear on the ship, and we'll go into that later. But we met on the contract for Virgin Voyages, and she really was my rock when times were so hard, because times were so hard on that ship. It wasn't they weren't mean to us or anything. Like the cruise ship life is hard, and being a drag queen on a ship is hard. So Toni and I met on that, and she just carried me through all the way until the pandemic. So Toni also does some other things. She is a Girl Scout leader, and I want to just talk for a second. I don't tell hardly anyone this, but I was once a Boy Scout. I know. Shocking. I was a Boy Scout. Actually, I was a Cub Scout for the entire, I don't even know what grade they start at, but I did like second grade, maybe first grade. I did all the badges, and I got the little scarf thing, and the shirts were so uncomfortable. And I got the little beaded thing that hangs from your button. Anyone else a Boy Scout? Raise your hands. Unless you're driving, keep your hands on your steering wheel. But I was a Boy Scout all the way until 5th grade. 2 things happened that year. I was becoming an Eagle Scout. That's like the goal. I guess it's a Boy Scout. Yeah, I guess it's Cub, Boy. Okay, so I was probably a Boy Scout too. But I was going to become an Eagle Scout, which is like the older Boy Scouts, if you don't know. And my troop was meshing in to, I guess, the Eagle Scouts or the Boy Scouts, and we moved locations, and I was with the much older boys, like for instance, high schoolers. And, being a little gay boy in a Boy Scouts is tricky enough, but puberty was setting in. And I remember we had to do this physical badge or something where we had to do like running. So a little chubby me, jogging at night, which was never good in Pennsylvania, which at nighttime in the winter in Pennsylvania is 5 o'clock. So we were jogging, and then we had to come back into this basement of this church. And we had to do sit-ups, and the Eagle Scouts were going to hold your feet while you did the sit-ups, and they were to count. Well, here's the thing. I don't do physical fitness. I've never been a fan. Now, I did go to the gym prior to all the pandemic junk, but sit-ups are just, who loves a sit-up? No one. So I remember this beautiful 6-foot tall, just blonde, blue-eyed, stunning boy. He was the one who was lined up with me to hold my feet. Well, little chubby me. Little chubby Matthew. Here I am. And the worst fear for every little chubby gay boy, secret gay Boy Scout. I do a sit-up, and I get close to him, and I farted. I farted in his face. I was embarrassed. I was highly embarrassed. I mean, not that I had a chance with him. To make it worse, he was also my guidance counselor's son. Well, shortly after that, I'm not even sure if it was the next week or what happened, but my house burned, which we've discussed. I was in 5th grade, my house burned, we lost everything. And I lost all my books, badges, Boy Scout things, everything you can imagine that involved with the Boy Scouts. It was gone. And I took that. My mom was like, do you want to go back to the Boy Scouts? Like, we can figure a way to get your stuff back. And I never went back. Which looking back at it now, I was embarrassed. Absolutely. Should I have went back to like learn how to deal with that? Probably. But I didn't love the experience. It was a small group of like 2 or 3 boys with this amazing lady, a Boy Scout leader, Cheryl. That was fun, doing the soap carvings and the pine wood derby with my dad was amazing. But the rest of it, meh. I never liked camping out. That thing with the Boy Scouts, for instance, was not my thing. And I'm okay with that. Now looking back at it, I'm okay that I didn't go back. I don't know really why I was into it. Maybe the socialization. I really was never allowed to have boys over or friends. Not saying, for friends over, stuff like that, due to my dad and stuff. And I lived in the country, so people lived really far away. But I am happy I was a Boy Scout because it taught me that I didn't need that in my life. And then I found music. I found music a couple years before that, but I really found music after I stopped being a Boy Scout. I really just delved into theater and that side of me. So I'm happy I did it. I think it's an organization that's got some good intentions. I also, like Toni, you'll learn Toni is a Girl Scout leader. I think the Girl Scouts do amazing work. And I wish that I would have known more about the Girl Scouts. I've learned a lot through Toni, which you'll learn some today too. And organizations for kids. So hopefully, if you're listening and you're a young one out there, or a parent of a young one out there, explore some options. It doesn't have to be the Boy Scout. I'm saying it could be. It wasn't for me. I do think organizations for kids, like theater programs or dance programs or music programs or maybe even sports. I think kids who really love sports, that's great too. It's just not for me. So I'm not forcing upon anyone. But I do love the work of the Girl Scouts, and I do love a Girl Scout cookie so much. In fact, fun tip, if you didn't know, one of my audition outfits for Camp Wanakiki was Girl Scout cookie themed. I literally went to Joann's Fabric and made a skirt out of Girl Scout cookie material, and then I made a fleece vest that matched. So funny how the Girl Scouts have always been there for me. Yeah. All right, I hope you enjoy this amazing episode of Behind the Lashes with Tora Himan. Enjoy. Oh my God, ladies and gentlemen, and those in between, or those who I don't even know, those who are questioning. You do what you want to do,
ladies or gentlemen, or those in between, or those who have yet to make up their mind.
Lola from Kinky Boots, my favorite character, dream role that I'll never get to play, sadly. Ladies, everyone, just cats, dogs, kittens, anyone listening. I have my first ever non-drag performer. I know it's only episode 2. However, still the first of the trend, because we're not going to give you just drag performers. We're going to give you people in every part of society. And I have someone who, to me, is a leader in not only the Girl Scout industry and changing young minds, leader for lesbians, a leader. She's a lesbian. I don't know if she wants me to tell you.
I actually identify as queer. I don't identify as a lesbian. But...
We have to talk about that because okay. I got a story. Remind me, I got a story.
But it was. I know you're trying to intro me, but it was constant comic gold. I let myself be the butt of many jokes.
No comment about that. You've heard the voice. You don't know who she is, unless you might know who she is. But we're going to make sure you know who she is today, ladies and gentlemen. It's my good friend Toni.
Hi.
Hi, Toni. Toni, what is the correct pronunciation of your last name?
Ostini.
Ostini. Toni Ostini. Now, I'm assuming you're Italian?
The name is Italian.
Oh.
It's Swiss Italian. But like most Americans, I'm not exclusively one thing. So the surname is Italian from my dad's side. Yeah.
Now, you live in New York City.
Yes.
You were there for the pandemic when it was the epicenter.
Oh, yeah. I came home to that. Yes.
Yeah. So a little backstory. Toni and I worked on a gig called The Virgin Voyages.
Mm-hmm.
Toni was my production stage manager for Install. What's the correct title?
What was my title? My title, who knows what I was actually supposed to be doing, but I was the installation creative stage manager.
Okay. So basically, she made sure everyone in my cast and production was on task doing what they're supposed to be doing. And for me, provided a shoulder to cry on, a shoulder to go to dinner with, just a person to talk to, which at the end of the day, if you're in entertainment, that's the most important thing.
Yes. Yes.
But she does a lot more than that. She's done a lot of cruise ships. Do you know how many you've done?
Well, physical ships, I did 3. I've launched 2, and
okay.
but I'm let's see. Virgin was my 5th contract, and 2 of those were installs. What
is your favorite memory that you have for all of your contracts on a cruise ship? What is like your favorite thing that you've done? That's a hard question, I know.
It is a hard question. For those of you who have never worked ships, particularly as an entertainer,
it's the hardest thing I've ever done.
Well, installation is a completely different animal. I think that was one of the reasons why they brought me on, was my experience doing that. But we get to go out into port and kind of have the day. And I got to do so much scuba diving, which is one of my side skills. If I had to pick one, scuba diving in an archaeological site in Italy is probably like right up there.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It's in just near Naples, Italy.
Okay. Wow. I know you went scuba diving with when you were in the Bahamas with our ship, and you saw like a shipwreck.
We went snorkeling. I went with our. What was her title? She was the
creative
director, I think.
Yeah.
And she was not a certified diver, so they offered, because this shipwreck is half out of the water and half in. It is actually safe for people to snorkel, and so we ended up going and snorkeling this Prohibition era vessel, this not tanker, but anyway.
Yeah, no, if anyone wants to go look that up, it's in Bimini. Check out Bimini. It's only 59 miles off of Miami.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's literally the close. And you can actually not now, but hopefully one day soon, we can take a little tender boat back and forth from Miami.
I know. Although actually right now, for those of you who have private yachts, which is so many of us right now.
My entire audience.
the entire audience. You could actually go to Bimini, I think, right now.
Oh, even though the Bahamas is like, no.
It is open to private. Come on, please.
I don't know these things. I'm asking.
It's open. It's open to Europeans. It's basically open to everybody but Americans.
So sad.
Or rich people who have yachts is basically.
No. So if I was loaded and had a yacht, I could go to the Bahamas?
Pretty much. If you were Beyonce, you could.
Well, I'm pretty close.
You are.
Toni. Okay, Toni.
Yes.
So you've done cruise ships. You've done more than cruise ships. Like, give me the 30-second to a minute elevator pitch of who is Toni and why you're a legend.
Why I'm a legend. Oh my God. Wow. Set me on a pedestal. I am a guerrilla theater tour ship life stage manager specialist.
Yeah.
I still have 30 seconds? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, keep going. What about the Girl Scouts? Do you want to talk about the...
Well, I volunteer with Girl Scouts here in New York. I have 5 troops, which is a lot. How
many girls is that? Like...
at our height, my 4 traditional troops, I had about 50 girls in total across 4 troops. And then I actually volunteer for a specialized troop that's for girls living in the shelter system. They are not homeless. They are living their homes or in shelters. And I think we had about maybe 15 or 20 at our location at the height.
These girls living in shelters, sometimes with parents, or
they are families living.
So sometimes not, though, or
no. These are the shelters that we operate in are shelters for families. So you have entire family units. I mean, if I knew you were going to ask me, I'd tell you the statistic of.
No, I want to know. Tell me
how many children. I think 60% of the homeless population in New York City is children under the age of 18.
60%.
60%. Yeah. And so the way that New York is dealing with that is to they basically commandeer these hotels and then they stick families in them. So the way I got into Girl Scouts, I mean, my best friend happens to be the CEO now of New York Girl Scouts, but this new friend of mine was actually transitioning into the shelter with her 5 kids when I met her. So, and then she started this troop while she was living in the shelter.
How can people learn more about, can we do anything to help this troop?
Yeah, so you can. They just released a book. I actually make two brief appearances in the book. God, if I could run out and get it,
Go get it. I will.
No, we're not on video, so we can't. You can't.
Oh, okay.
See it anyway. So, Troop 6000 is the name of the troop. So if you were to Google them, Google Troop 6000. How do I volunteer? How do I help? And then you can volunteer your time if you're in New York, or volunteer money. We're sort of in a very weird, tenuous position right now with this lockdown. These girls have been locked up in these hotels for, when did I come home? March 15th.
Yeah.
The shutdown happened, I think, the day after the day I got home was when New York went into lockdown. And so these kids have been without Girl Scout meetings, without school. Some of them have been without, this interview took a totally
no, this is
dark turn,
what I want. Because this is fascinating.
So the lockdown started in March, and some of them did not get tablets from the school district until June. So they were without schooling, living in a hotel room. So imagine a 2 queen-size bed hotel room with a bathroom and having a family of 3 to 5 people.
And this is New York City, so people who don't live in New York, if you've never been, hotels are not the same size as Orlando or anywhere else in the country. They are smaller.
Yeah.
I think. So are you still doing work with Troop 6000?
Mm-hmm.
How are you doing that in a pandemic?
Well, the last time I saw my girls was January. When did we start rehearsals? January 10th?
Yeah, around the January.
So I saw the girls on January 9th. After we set up the rehearsal room, I took a bicycle and I went over to see the girls to say goodbye, and the kids. There's a rec center there. So the boys and the girls that were in the rec center there, I just went and sat with them and played Legos, and I've not seen them since. And most of them have actually transitioned out, which is a good thing. That means they left and they got homes. I think there's 3 girls left, 4 right now. So I have actually not been able to continue with them.
Okay.
And who knows when we'll get back to meetings. But I was running a Lego League team with them, a robotics team with them, which was so much fun. I got to, play with kids and build Legos. And you've seen my room, so you know that I'm a big fat kid is what I am. So
that's amazing.
Yeah.
So the other 4 troops, have you got to do anything with them at all?
Yeah, we do weekly. They're not. They are not really into Girl Scouting meetings. They don't really want to do badge work and all of that, because kids, as you can imagine, are pretty zoomed out. I bet you that's going to be in the dictionary before long. They're pretty zoomed out. And so they just don't want to sit for an hour and be lectured to and have to learn more on a Saturday. So I let them vote, which is very much a Girl Scout thing, led by girls, for girls. And so they voted to just have the little ones. We have a movie watching session every Saturday. So we pick a Disney movie and they type in the chat the commentary because they've all seen all the movies that we watch,
Sure.
which is so peculiar. And the older girls, we play Jackbox games. So we get together and just be social, and they love it. That's what they wanted. They don't really care about learning right now.
That's very important that they're getting the social aspect, though.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've learned so much already, and we're only 12 minutes in.
I know, and we totally was like, "Oh, I'm a stage manager, but I'm talking about Girl Scouts." But
see, that's the thing is like this episode, the whole podcast is about really getting to know someone besides the facade. I know you as a production stage manager, and you're also a friend of mine. I'm not going to lie, but you're so much more. And I think that there's every person is a sandwich, like literally.
I agree. Yeah.
So how has life been since I've seen you, on March 15th? How has life been?
It's a lot of emotional ups and downs. I was here with my flatmate for about a week, and then she took off for the hills. She has family in Rhode Island, so she left for 2 months. So I was home alone in this apartment for 2 months, and my primary lifelines were having chats with you and our friends, and then my friend who's out in our friend that's out in LA, and my mom, checking in with my mom constantly. But it was really, I didn't realize how emotionally difficult it would be, just kind of without all the other life's difficult things, right? How difficult emotionally it would be to be isolated in a space and not really have any reason to leave, or actually supposed to leave for that matter. Go to the grocery store and come home. And that was my life for 2 months. And it got really hard. I had some really, really rough days. Where I text people and like, oh my God, I'm so sad.
Yeah.
And then my flatmate came home, and then it sort of felt like, oh, okay, well, life is getting not back to normal, but it was at least to have a human being who was here, that I could talk to every day and laugh with and watch movies with and all of that. And now, as my community is maybe a week or two away from entering phase 4 of reopening. So now the bars are all open. It's all outdoor seating, but last night I went and I treated myself to a meal outside, and Scotty is the bartender there. He's a dear friend. He actually does drag as well. I don't remember what her name is, but they said to me, "Oh, we saw your name come up on the order. I ordered for pickup." They're like, "Oh my God, Tony's coming! Oh, the day is salvaged." And that's being part of a community and being able to be out and about in the community. It makes me feel really a lot better about all of this. Got my hair cut. I get it's little things, right?
Crazy that it's been a while since we've got normalcy of any type.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a while before any real normalcy comes back, I think.
Yes. Yeah.
So tell me a little about like baby Toni. Like, where did you grow up? Tell me, let me paint the picture of your childhood.
Yes. I grew up in California. I'm a native San Franciscan. My mom picked us up and moved us to the kind of Central Valley when I was 8, so she could go to law school. And it was a very suburban, going from the urban environment of San Francisco to a very suburban, ride your bike everywhere, don't lock your doors kind of environment. And I loved growing up there. Hated school, but I loved it.
So
I loved going.
That's my next question, actually. So why did you hate school?
I think sometimes I just didn't feel particularly challenged.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And they actually moved me at one point into a math class in a higher grade level because I was so bored. Oh my God, this is terrible.
No, I love this. This is very different.
I must still have them somewhere, but I actually drew these pictures of inanimate objects with teeth chasing my teacher.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I know. It's terrible. And so they're like, yeah, she's a little not challenged. We're going to put her in a higher math class. Yeah. So you weren't bullied or anything to my were you bullied? Well, I was bullied. Yeah. I mean, I developed, I had boobs at 10.
Same.
And so Dolly Parton Jr. was actually like, really, that's all you could fucking come up with.
That's what they that's what they said. They called you Dolly Parton Jr.
They called me Dolly Parton Jr. And I'm like, okay. So
that's amazing. And take that crown and run with that.
Yeah. So I was like, all right. So I ended up getting into a lot of fights. People would pick on me. So I wasn't bullied in the traditional sense. I got bullied and I was small for my age. So I was telling my friend in LA, because she was saying that she was bullied when she was a kid. And I was like, you know what? I would be that kid who would get a fat lip protecting you.
Yeah, you are that person.
And clearly that has not changed one iota. But I spent a lot of time on my butt with the fat lip, which is fine.
So family life growing up, how is that and how was that?
My mom and my sister and I were a tight unit when I was growing up. We called ourselves the Yayas.
Oh, okay.
And it was just the three of us. My dad was an alcoholic until I was 23. So he was not a super active part of our lives. It's sort of like, oh God, we have to go to dad's for the weekend. Oh, what a drag. You grow up in a bar basically when your parent is an alcoholic. So, that was weird. And then in high school, I sort of had a mix of being a loner, but also having a really tight group of friends. So I spent kind of half my time alone and half my time with my friends. And a lot of them were theater friends. So I always worked on, the 2 plays we did every year. We always did a straight play in the fall and we did a musical in the spring. And so that was pretty much my crew was the crew for those. And,
so you found your own family basically through theater.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. And you just stuck with it and did it in college and just kept going, or?
Yeah. Well, I had wanted to be a marine biologist when I was in junior high and high school.
That makes sense with you. Yeah.
I loved the ocean. Thank you. I was certified to dive when I was 16.
Oh my gosh.
And, I did it with my best friend, George. He was my blood brother, that guy. And so we did everything together. We got into a lot of trouble in high school, particularly. A lot of trouble. A lot we didn't get caught doing, but so I wanted to do that, but I didn't like school, and so the prospect of to be honest, the prospect of doing 4 years of really hard schooling was not terribly appealing to me.
Yeah.
And so I entered college as a theater major, a design major. And, life kind of took me off that college track for almost a decade. My dad was supposed to be paying for college. And my mom said, well, if you're going to be a theater major, I'm not going to pay for college.
Oh.
Whatever. So I had to drop out and get a real job. And that real job turned into 7 years of working in the private sector. And then I finally was like, well, I finished it. Now I started it. Now I have to finish it. And so I found a way to pay for it myself.
Wow.
and go back. And I was working full time when I went back. I was working the things that I have done. I was working as a mosaic housewares artisan when I went back to school. And so I did night school and got all those crummy classes out of the way. The job went away, and I went back to university to finish my theater degree. And at that point, that was it. I was hooked. Like,
Wow.
oh, this is an actual profession that I want to do.
Yeah, and you're extremely good at it. What have been some highlights in your career that of productions you've worked on or things you've worked on?
I would say, as a stage manager, working on Blue Men Group on the ship was probably one of the most rewarding and fruitful experiences. It was such a challenge. It was such a challenge professionally and technically, and sometimes interpersonally. There were some members of the group that I did not. Well, there was one guy that I was like, oh God, I want to punch you in your face. But and learning how to call the show was really, really hard. Learning how to do it on a ship was really, really hard. And actually, just on Facebook, a memory popped up that my off-Broadway debut as a stage manager was for this crazy show called Mrs. Smith's Broadway Catacular.
Oh, wow.
And it was about, oh my God, this is like circling me back to you. Oh my God. So it starred this Mrs. Smith, who is this actor, David, I don't remember David's last name, but David has created this drag character, Mrs. Smith. But David is like a Van Halen level guitar player. Like David can shred like nobody's business. So just imagine like Metallica, this but this 70-year-old woman with, she's
like
hard.
I've heard of this.
You'll have to Google her. She's sort of an internet personality now.
Yeah.
She sort of created this other persona for her. But we did this stage show, this musical review about her search for her cat, Carlisle. Like, you can't make this stuff up.
What?
And we played off Broadway for about 5 weeks in the summer 5 years ago. It's crazy,
Amazing.
Right? Yeah.
Wow. That's spectacular. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to ask some weird questions. Some are personal. Some I just want to learn who Toni is through these questions. So I know you and I had some good Italian food. We've had some good food all over the world, actually. Kind of.
Yeah.
What's kind of all over the world? Favorite food ever and why?
Californian Mexican food.
Oh, you cannot go wrong with a California Mexican food.
And you can't, and you don't get it here. And you don't get it here. The quality here, the way you do in kind of the Western states.
I agree with that.
I love spicy food, and there's something very traditional, or more traditional there. It's not like Chipotle, which is not really Mexican food.
Nope.
Very rustic and local, if that makes any sense, about Mexican food. And I just love the kind of the flavor profiles.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And then obviously Italian, like real Italian.
Yeah, real Italian food is different than American Italian food.
Yeah.
Who is your inspiration?
Who is my inspiration? I feel like I draw inspiration from everybody that I mean, not everybody, but I feel like each project or each thing that I work on inspires me to do my best.
Mm-hmm.
I think Pepper, you remember Pepper from the ship?
From Virgin Voyages, yeah.
She as far as my actual career, she showed me so much, and so much confidence and trust in training me how to do her job, because it was like, well, you're here, you should learn how to do my job. And I think that set me on a little bit further on my path. And I thank her to this day for that, the care that she showed me as a human being and as a professional.
I didn't get to work with her too much, but I did get to chat with her a little bit, actually about a month or two ago. Interesting human. I would really like to work with her in some form one day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She's good people.
Yeah, she's good people. Okay. This is my favorite question to ask anyone. I've asked it so far on both podcasts. If you could have dinner with 3 people, alive or dead, who are they and why?
Do the Obamas count as 2 people? Michelle and Barack? So those are 2 people, right?
They are 2 people. Yeah.
Holy moly. I would almost pay good money to just sit and have dinner with those 2.
I would like that.
I think that they are so stupid smart. And obviously they've done all of this living. I think Michelle in particular she's so down to earth and so real. I watched the documentary on Becoming on Netflix.
Netflix, yeah.
There's not a plug.
They do not sponsor me, sadly.
They don't, but you should. If you have Netflix, you should watch it. But it really gives you an insight into who she is as a person, and it's like, God, I would love to just sit for a couple of hours with a bottle of wine and like pick their brain about, I actually think I would love to do the same thing with Lady Gaga. I just think she's such an interesting person, and she doesn't take any bullshit, and she appears to be genuine. I don't know if the being genuine is an act. I can't quite tell, but I think she's such a talented person, and she seems like she's a real person.
Yeah. Wow. All 4 of you at the same table. That would be... I think you could solve the world's problems.
I feel like we could.
I really... Gosh. What? Yeah. That's just a beautiful table.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful table. This could be taken any direction you want. There's no right or wrong. What's a memory from your life that will never leave your mind?
Well, I can remember it like it was yesterday.
Okay.
The earthquake of 1989.
Oh.
Right.
This is California, I'm assuming?
California, San Francisco. I was home alone, and I like every little beat of that night is branded on my psyche. It's sort of, I can remember everything about that.
I've never been through a hurricane. Well, I've been through a hurricane. Never been through an earthquake. So can you paint a picture of it kind of a little bit?
It's well, this one was super, super strong. I mean, it took out one of our freeways. It took out one of our bridges. I mean, it did a lot of destruction from 70 miles away. I mean,
wow.
The epicenter was in Santa Cruz, and it pretty much leveled downtown Santa Cruz. But, just to sort of, in a nutshell, I was watching the baseball game. It was the World Series between the San Francisco Giants and the Oakland A's. And the stadium was probably, I'm sort of visualizing, I'm looking down as I sort of visualize. The stadium was just due south of where I was living. The broadcast studio was south of that. And the TV feed went down right after the national anthem, I think. Then the power went out. So my TV went out. I cursed. And then the building, it felt like a giant had picked up my house and was just like a toddler was just shaking it violently. And like an idiot, I didn't move away from the plate glass window that I was sitting next to. Like, I mean, I'm a native San Franciscan, for Christ's sake. I knew better. But, and it felt like it felt like this toddler was shaking my building for 5 minutes. It wasn't.
What?
the whole quake was less than 30 seconds, and then it stopped, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess that wasn't so bad. But then I looked up the street, and it literally looked like the actual pavement was undulating, like there was a wave, like an ocean wave coming, and then the house started to sway violently as if we were on I don't know, on a carousel or something. I mean, and it was so violent. I mean, I felt like I couldn't actually get up out of the couch, and it was terrifying.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's really hard to. They just had a 4.51 in LA, and my friends who lived there said it rattled them out of their sleep.
Oh,
yeah,
terrifying.
Yeah.
And as we're recording this, I'm about to set through just a small category 1.
I know.
It's not that bad. I've done a 5, so this is not.
So,
have you ever done a hurricane on a ship?
I have not. No.
This scares me to death.
I've gotten lucky, having worked the Caribbean twice. I've just missed hurricane season because usually I've joined the ship in November.
Oh, yep.
And so it's just at the tail end of hurricane season. I've managed, knock on wood, to miss it.
Okay, what would be on the gag reel of your life?
Jeez. I feel like my life is a constant gag reel.
Same.
I mean, I've done some stupid stuff in my life. God, I don't know. I've done some dumb stuff. I'm sure I've done some dumb stuff totally drunk and don't remember what I've done.
Yes. Oh, I do remember a little tipsy Toni.
Oh, Jesus.
Nothing bad.
Were you the people who got me back to the ship that last night in Italy? I think
the limoncello night. The limoncello's at the pizza place.
That was the final beverage of the night. Yes.
That is where Simone and I tended to lick each other's nipples on the street of Italy.
Yeah.
Simone is a castmate that was with us. She's Australian. Little spitfire she is.
Little spitfire, that one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What would be on my gag reel? Like I said, I've done some goofy stuff with the kids, just to entertain them. I mean, we jumped in the lake. We weren't supposed to do that. A couple summers ago, we were lifeguards, and we decided that we were going to. Oh yeah, we did some stupid stuff in the pool too. We weren't supposed to do. Yeah, we did flips and stuff. We were the lifeguards. We waited till all the kids were gone, and then we did all this goofy. Yeah.
Things.
Okay. So I'm thinking gag reel, like funny. My best friend George and I. Oh my God, I haven't told anybody this in a very long time. My best friend George and I put eggs up on the roof so they would rot.
Oh.
And then, this is terrible. And then we after school, we'd get home and then we'd climb up to the roof, and where his house was, he was actually almost near the corner. And so the cheerleaders would walk by, and then we would sort of time it. We would wait, and then we would just chuck the eggs. Oh my God, over the couple of houses. Yeah, that's probably not very funny, but I think that would be on.
Oh my gosh. I got egged once in New York City. Yeah, that's a thing. It happened.
In hindsight, that was not a particularly good choice, but yeah.
Okay. Was there a turning point in your life that kind of like triggered a switch in you, and you became more of who you are today? Was there like a defining moment, time period where you just went like, floop, and now Toni as I know Toni came?
Yeah, I think so. It's sort of right before I graduated college, which, like I said, was almost 10 years after I started. I had done some living in that 10 years, not all of it good, and I'd had a nervous breakdown at 21, and after 6 years of therapy, I managed to get through that. And I was bound and determined to get hired with the touring company of Rent.
Oh my God, you're Yitzhak from Hedwig.
And and the guy who hired me, who has since passed away, he took a risk in hiring me. He's like, "Ugh, you're a rent head. I'm not going to hire a rent head." I said, "No, I'm a grown up. I'm a fan of the show, but I'm a grown up, and I'm asking to do this job." And he's like, "Okay, that's cool." So that happened, but at the same time, I had gone back to school, and if there's a penultimate moment between those two, I had taken an acting class. It was a requirement. I didn't want to do it, but it was a requirement for my degree. And I decided to take it in the Castro district. And I don't know if listeners are familiar with the Castro district in San Francisco, but it is the queer district of San Francisco. And so I figured if I took a city college acting class among my people, I would be more comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And the acting professor was so kind and so supportive of me kind of on this acting journey, but he also was like, why are you a design major? You should be a stage manager. You're actually really good at it. You're a people person and you're a taskmaster, and I'm not the greatest stage manager in the world, but I'm good at my particular skill set. And he said, I'm going to get you an internship with a professional company, and this is what you need to be doing. And that's what he did. I interned with California Shakespeare Festival for the summer, and kind of that was it. That was the beginning of my career. And a year and a half later, I think about a year and a half later, I had my equity card, and I was working gigs. So I think that is, if I was going to pick between the two, Rick hiring me, may he rest in peace, to work Rent, which sort of kind of, I say that because it kind of got me locked back in
Mm-hmm.
to working around the theater. And then that led to me going back to school and kind of starting my professional career.
Rent changed my life because, yes, I technically was a Rent head. I was like a teenager, went to college, and it was still on Broadway, and I saw the show, oh gosh, probably almost 10 times. The Lottery on Broadway, because I lived in New York City at that time. And
oh God, I wonder if I was working there selling merch when you came.
Oh, that's right. We did discuss this, I'm sure, because it was 2004, 5, and 6.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I actually feel like I bought something from you. I bought a long sleeve shirt that said "No Day But Today" on it. Shocking.
Downstairs, the cupboard the cupboard under the stairs. That's what.
With that amazing mirror hallway that just like the mirror that just keeps going when you look into it.
Yeah.
That show changed my life because that's probably when I started really getting into musical theater. That was the soundtrack that every little gay boy listened to. So, you're part of that legacy to me. You changed my life. You as well. That whole team.
Yeah, that show
was unbelievable. Unbelievable. Did you work on any other Broadway shows in some form or a way?
Yeah. I worked on well, as a merchandise manager, you end up working a whole. It's sort of that weird gray area where you're working for the show.
Sure.
On the show.
I count that as you're still part of the show. I guess you're not on stage, but you're still. It takes a lot of people to make that happen.
Yeah. But as a production assistant, I worked on the load in and tech of Caroline or Change.
Oh, such a good show.
Oh my God. And I actually had the option, the production stage manager called me and I had submitted my resume, and he's like, well, I've got two positions. You can either be the production assistant and you'll just be with the show through opening, or I can actually hire you as the child wrangler and you can be with the show, for the run, however long that is. And obviously as a stage manager, I wanted to, or maybe not obviously, but I'm telling you that my goal was to be a professional stage manager. So being a production assistant is very often the track to joining a show. A lot of production assistants end up either taking over for a long run or doing the tours. And I came very close to doing the tour as well. But I spent time during the entire run from production assistant to being the sub child wrangler for the duration of that run. And then I was the production assistant for 2 pre-Broadway